Beautiful day to be alive to hear this beautiful truth. Go into this chat. Well, where? Oh, already. So we open our Sufyan Council meeting in the name of Allah. We will be covering Sufa 27, which is a beautiful Sufa. The Sufa more beautiful than existence itself. We have heard about logics. We may have heard about logos. If you have heard about those words, this should be a grand insight. So as we move into the great Sufa, as we open up, the logic, Al-Mantiq. Al-Mantiq. One, O you who believe, let it be said, Al-Mantiq. Keep that in mind as we cover the previous Sufa, the Sufa of truth, Al-Aq. And that word Aq is in this word Mantiq. And you hear the very familiar word, man. And so this is the understanding of man and the understanding of spirit man. In ancient Egyptian, the Ak was known as the immortal spirit, the immortal soul. So as we talk about the Al-Man or Mantiq, like don't they got something like that played in Aquaman 2? Ain't that the Aquaman 2 antagonist is something like that, Manti or something like that? These are in so correlations, because remember, movies are archetypes of mythologies played out in scriptural form. They are New Age scriptures played out in cinematic view. And all these archetypes are archetypes of your very own psychology. And so before we get any deeper in that, we're going to go into the logic so we can have sense of it all. And so I have the Circle 7 and the Al Sufyan I will be using for our demonstration today. And so, number 2, let me do a screen share. And so you can let me see what I'm seeing. All right, there it is on the screen. So those who are viewers can view. So we on number 2. Mantiq means the logic, the reason, the common sense. Remember, these are the Sufyan words and ways of their own philosophy. Now, the logic. Okay, let's go into some contemporary studies of today's understanding of logic. Let's get some sources, and we're going to do some comparison. So we have truth. And to have truth, you must see all perspectives. And in KOS, you must know all sciences and math when it comes to your knowledge of self. So you must know how many perspectives there are. So there are 360 degrees of perspective. And there you have it. All right, now we got logic on the screen. Logica is the study of correct reasoning. Now we know right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding lead to sound right reasoning. So another way of saying sound right reasoning or correct reasoning is logic. Now the way a Sufyan says it is Montiar. Is the same as the Greeks said when they say logos. So these things are all the same, but in different cultural identities, depending on region. And so these atmospheres that we are learning about deals with correct reasoning. And it says on the screen that logic, it includes both formal and informal logic. Formal logic is the science of deductively valid inferences or logical truths. Okay, so as you see, we'll read a little bit more. It studies how conclusions follow from premises due to the structure of arguments alone. Conclusions follow premises, all right, independent of their topic and content, always. Informal logic, we ain't even finna go in there. So you see, that's a briefing on logic from a Western academic. Now let's do logic in the Greek. Let's see. Logic in the Greek. Let's go back. Let's see if it's gonna keep it a buck. No, didn't keep it a buck. What? Let's go right here. The word logic originates from the Greek word logos. The word logos has a variety of translations, such as reason, discourse, or language. So logos in Greek is referring to language, the word. Now let's show you what it says on etymon. These are the many perspectives. You know, if you know your math, you can do all type of divisions of 360. All right, we got logic. Let's see. Logic. It says a branch of philosophy. This is the etymon, mid 14th century. Logicae. Branch of philosophy that treats of forms of thinking. The etymon says this is treat the forms of thinking, the science of distinction of true from false reason, pertaining to speaking or reason. This is where we get the word logos, reason, idea, and word. Now we're going to go into logos. Logos, the divine word, the second person of a Christian Trinity. Then it get religious. So from a non-religious perspective, it's the divine word. From Greek logos, word, speech, statement, discourse. So the most impressive we have is divine word. So now we're going to toggle back through to the Sufa 27. Now we got their view and perspective of logic. Now let's see the Sufyan view and perspective. Logic is also the reason. We've seen that in other forms. So that's consistent. The common sense. Now, we didn't see common sense in the other forms of definitions that we viewed. But here we see it relates to that old sense, our old time. Our old timers used to tell us, use your common sense. So this goes back to connecting us to us. We have heard of the basic word common sense. We might not have heard of logic as much, or maybe logos even more. But common sense, if you grow up in the average black home, then you understand, you have heard the word common sense. So now we know, if they didn't know, it's referring to logic. So as we get to know logic, logic 3 is the 25th name. Logic is the 25th name of Allah, the infinite, the unique, and the all-knowing. So have we heard it that way? Have we heard that logic? It said that the divine word, the second, what it said, the second, logic for us is a name of our Creator. And in specifically the 25th name. And our Creator is infinite, the infinite. Our Creator is the unique. And our Creator is the all-knowing. So we're talking about God, the Creator, Allah. Number 4, the coherent and sensible thought. The coherent and sensible thought. We're going to leave Edamon out so we can get more coherent. Coherent means harmonious. So logic is coherent, and coherent means harmonious. Do that sound familiar? I bring out of the circle 7. See if this sounds familiar. The higher self is the mother. The higher self is the mother, not the father. The higher self is the mother of the virtues and the harmonies of life. So logic refers to the higher self. The higher self refers to the mother. The mother is feminine. Logic is a feminine trait. We dealing with harmonious, connectivity, consistency. These things is what creates a great relationship. And when we're talking about logic, logic is how you create a great relationship. Through sensible. So the things that we have said that was you shouldn't did when you were young. Men don't cry. Crying is for girls. Well, coherency will relate to that. Sensibility will relate to our sensation. So a sensation is known as a feeling. And as we all have felt various feelings, the woman is more transparent with her sensibilities. So now when we see that sensibility goes with coherency, and both of these are talking about a connectivity dealing with the higher, or you may say the right side of the brain, or you may say the feminine. These is represented by thought. Now this is very key. Now when things are in order as a thought, not chaotic, not over the place, out of the place, but we're talking about coherent. When things are in harmony, when things are connected, when things are not broken. So most of our homes are broken. This is due to the lack of logic, which brings us back to we're not operating out of a divine state of mind. So thought, we're going to bring it up on the screen, sees as a process of thinking. Thought is a process. So the process that is going down is the process of thinking. Hey, shout out to the fam, shout out to the fam, shout out to the family. Kin folks. Thought is a process that comes from thinking. So to have a thought, one must think. To begin thinking is how the process of thought is manifested. Thought, sensibility, coherency, all dealing with the feminine. The mother, which is the higher self, is dealing with logic. And all this deal with logical thought, which is the way of, it says, compassion and to conceive of in the mind. To conceive of in the mind. So just as you can have a baby below, you can conceive above. So when you are conceiving above, that is called thought. And this is happening in the mind. And so in order to change your life, you must bring coherency to your thinking. So in other words, in order to change your life, you must bring logic upon and into the mind and conceive logic as a thought. And this will help you to begin the process of, as I toggle back, to number 5. To Al-Musi, as we see, 28, numbers, Musi, number 1, Musi. That is our word for numbers. So as we're on Musi 5, the method, logic is the method. Now let's read, go back. The method. A method is a system. A method is a system. Also, way of teaching. A method is a system or a way of teaching. A scientific inquiry, a method of inquiry, and a way of investigation. Originally, pursuit, a following after. Coming from the word meta, in pursuit or quest of, meta, and hodos. A method, a system, a way of doing. A path, a track, a road. So logic is a way and a method of sensible and ordered thinking. And through this sensible and ordered thinking, we can change our life and create our heaven on earth. As I read from the Circle 7 out of the hidden teachings of Jesus. Jesus said in chapter 12, in number 8, it says that heaven we have heard, but then it is so far away. And we must live so many lives before we can reach that place. And Jesus said, my brother man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away. And it is not a place of metes and bounds. Heaven is not a country to be reached. Heaven is a state of mind.
State of mind.
A state of mind. So as we see that logic is the way that you create heaven on earth. You heard the old adage, as above, so below. That is talking about coherency and the logic, the sensible thought, the method of how we order our thinking. You yourself is responsible to order yourself into how you think. And to order yourself correctly, without fault or error, is to use the method of logic. Al-Mantiq. Musi 6. The system of argument that cannot be easily refuted. As we read, method is a system and a way of doing. So logic is a way that we should be using our mind in order to create heaven on earth. Now, we live in a solar system. If we didn't know this system, we don't live in a society. We live in a system that's based on solar principles. A solar system. We live in a system that is made of the soul. And there are many levels and varieties of the soul. As the Creator said, there are many mansions. And so as we understand through the exploring of consciousness, we understand that these heavens are within our state of mind. And in order to re-evaluate ourselves and bring heaven on earth, we have to have a system similar to the universal system. And that universal system is a solar system, not a biological system, even though biological forms, because soul takes on forms, many from higher to lower forms. As you in existence and you look around, you see many forms of life. So this was done by the same way that we are learning. This was done by a way of logic. And when those argue, the system of logic is to be used. This is what cannot be defeated. And once we understand what logic is, as we are learning through the Sufyan. Number 7. Logic is the nature of Allah. Now, we don't hear that very much. You hear Allah is the light. You hear light upon light. You hear God as a spirit. But Allah is the nature of logic. So once we come to understand the nature of logic, we come closer to our divine creator. This is how everything has been simply made for us to understand. And so we see wisdom is a form of logic. So wisdom is the nature of logic. And it doesn't stop there if we are attentive. Logic is also the nature of the concept. Woo! Now this is a big one right here. Concept. Now concepts is a thing that is abstract. It is the opposite of what you may heard of the word concrete. So when we're talking about concept and relating that to the nature of Allah, then it says as an etymon definition, this is what the perspective is as an etymon, that a concept is a general notion the immediate object of a thought. Once more, the immediate object of a thought is how they define concept. So as we travel back to the Al-Sufyan, the concept is related to the nature of Allah. So not only is it an immediate object of a thought, but also this is the breath of life given to us as the concept to use objectively, all through the science of wisdom and logic. If you've been listening, that's what our sister read last Sufa lesson. So this has to be understood. The concept is something that we want to sit on right now for a minute. Because belief is a concept. Your mind is a concept. Thought is a concept. So these things relate into the same imagery. And these same imagery is relating to something that is related to truth. Now, when we go into the circle 7 and we lay concept aside the word truth, well, in chapter 7, Musi 3 reads, Jesus said, truth is the only thing that changes not. All right, so hold that in your mind. So a concept, this is what has been tricking us all the way into deep slumber. God is a concept that lives in the mind of man. These things that we have to understand in order to understand every attribute. Make sure you hear it so you know it ain't coming just from my mouth. So spirit man, as seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. So these many mansions that were spoken of earlier is every part of God. But in order to receive these mansions or enter these mansions, we must enter them with our mind state. And through our mind state, this is how we have the concept. Remember, the concept is what enters the mind. So the same word state is the same word concept. So as we read that the heaven is a state of mind, we can also, heaven is a concept of mind. Number 8. A mind that won't think is no better than a cow that won't milk.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
Bring us home. I know you done seen a lot of that.
I used to milk a cow.
Talk with us.
I used to milk cows. That's not good at all. When we have a mind. You know, and it's amazing how people have taken a race of people and captured their mind and have them thinking the way they want them to think. Whatever decision that's made, they made it, and we see along and we tag along and we go along. Not thinking for ourselves, not using our own mind that the divine creator has given us, but letting someone else think for you, dictate for you, and speak for you.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Ooh. Just as simple as that.
So we worse than the cow that don't even bring but forth milk.
This is what it's saying. It's so logical for us to think that if we choose not to think.
Yeah.
That's just like a cow that won't milk. Now you tell me how good is it for you?
That's not. That's bad.
You had to go milk the cow because it was good for you.
That's right.
It was bringing benefits to the family.
Yeah, that good old milk.
But the cow, did y'all ever come across when it didn't milk?
No, the cow always milked because it was certain things that we want to make sure that would stop or prevent the cow from milking, because certain things you can give a cow that'll drive the milk. And certain things you can give her that make it abundant.
Make it abundant.
Yeah.
Good to know. Mm-hmm.
And that's the same way applied to a man's mind. If his mind ain't careful, it'll dry up.
Mm-hmm. And so, a mind that won't think. Let's look at it today. Is our mind thinking today as a black community?
No, it's not.
Why so? Why is not the black community mind thinking?
It's because they allow someone else to think for them. This is why our condition is constantly eroding.
Mm-hmm. Then there's the prophet Noble Drew Ali said, if I can just get you to think, to start thinking,
for yourself,
you will save yourself.
Look at that.
This is how important thinking is.
Mm-hmm.
If you will start to think, you will save yourself. Now these are masterminds telling us how to mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
It is not hard. It's not complex. It has to deal with exactly the 25th name of Allah. This is called logic in English, logos in Greek. So as we understand, Allah is the nature of logic and the concept. Now let's show you how powerful nature is. See, this is what the black community needs to know, so we'll know how to think. See, if we think on universal levels, if we think on natural law, if we think on divine law, this is where the black community wakes up.
Yeah.
So when we come into nature, this is why it's called Mother Nature and Father Truth, because it's the truth that you see combined. As we see nature, as the Edemon says, nature, natural law now, nature and natural law, restorative powers of the body. This is what nature means when we're talking about nature. Having restorative powers, having restorative forces contained in the body. Bodily processes, powers of growth, being, principle of life, character, essence, course of things, natural character, constitution, quality, and the universe. This is what Allah is. All of this is the nature of Allah. So you have a nature. So the creator has a nature.
Yep.
You exist, so the creator exists. Now, to understand why all this exists is how the black family and the community comes together and begin thinking on natural law levels and divine law levels.
Mm. You said something about if you exist, the creator exists, but yet man has a problem getting to know trying to comprehend the divinity of the divine creator, because they can't see the divine creator physically. Well, that's what they think. But when you can see everything that he's created, the source created, I ain't gonna say he or she, but the source created, then you should be able to see him, because if you see what the divine creator created and you didn't do it, then you should be wise enough or start thinking enough to really know what's at stake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But since we can't see, they wrote and said that no man has seen God. Well, I don't know about that, but what they just said, because when you see the creation, remember the scripture said, well, when you seen me, you seen the Father. That's what Jesus was saying.
Mm-hmm. We'll go in. Yep, I got some of
He
those
said,
teachings.
when you see me,
mm-hmm.
you see the Father.
Yep.
But yet, man and woman has a problem with seeing the divine creator.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, as we stated earlier from Musi 8, a mind that won't think, our mind ain't thinking. Now, I hope to relate it with this piece of jewel, this treasure. Man is a thought of Allah.
Okay.
So we went over earlier, thought comes from the process of thinking.
That's right.
So in order for you to exist, Allah had to think you into existence.
Thank you.
So if you exist, you was a thought of the creator.
Right on.
And as a thought of the creator, you have the ability to think. Now say I'm lying.
Oh yeah.
So that didn't come from man. That didn't come from the universe. That came from the divine creator.
Mm-hmm.
Which is over all. So the divine creator overstands all.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important. Man is a thought of Allah. Now we know that a mind that won't think.
Mm-hmm.
And Allah is the nature of logic and the concept.
Yeah. Mm.
9, or a mare that will not give birth.
Mm.
So birthing, when we thinking, we giving birth.
That's right.
So we want to know what we birthing. And 10, Allah grants us, not your local government, not your Supreme Court, not Chief Justice, but we talking about the Chief Creator,
Right on.
the deity. We talking about Allah granted us, grants us the skill. Now we know skills is very important. We see a lot of athletic skills.
Yeah.
But do we see a lot of mental skill?
No, they don't. They don't work on that a little bit. They don't.
See, because physical skill is one way, and mental skill is another way. And Allah is associated more to thinking. So one who can birth thoughts into reality is more closer to the Creator. Allah is telling us this is a skill. Thinking is a skill. Not steel sharpen steel, but skill sharpen skill when you come to KOS. So now when we talking about Allah grant us his skill of his higher self, which is a her. This is how deep it is. Just like in our higher self is the mother of all virtues. So Allah's higher self is the same as our higher self, is the mother. And the mother is the lover of all wisdom. This is why wisdom is referred to as she. And she who knows with deep insight that she is Sufa and Sufyan. They may in Greek say Sophia. So these things people know relate to divinity. Those who are into divinity. And so when you look up the word skill, S-K-I-L-L, it says it is an early 12th century term. The word skill means the word knowledge. 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 Now Allah say he grant us the skill of logic. And Allah says skill is knowledge. Also, Allah says skill is divine wisdom. Hold up now. We ain't been told this, y'all. We've been told the skills pay the bills. We've been told what? Steel sharpens steel.
Yeah, I done heard that many times.
But we haven't been told that skill is thinking. And whoever is the best thinker is closer to Allah. Because Allah created all that we think about. And how we use them is up to us. So to know that we was granted the skill called knowledge and divine wisdom, which is these two combined, knowledge and divine wisdom produces the power of discernment. Sound right reasoning, overstanding, understanding, understanding, all that which is reasonable. This is what skills do. Skills distinguish. Some people left-handed. Some people right-handed. Don't that distinguish?
Yes, it does.
Skill is distinction. The ability to make discernment. This is the skill. This is the skill. The skill of how to use the mind. I know in carpenter they got something called a skill saw.
Yep, sure do.
But in the Circle 7, the great holy prophet taught us that there's the workshop of the mind. Let me let you in on what I'm in on. These tools remind me of the ones we handle in the workshop of mind, where things were made of thought. Now this is where my studies come from, where things are made of thought. So it is a skill of knowledge. It is a skill of divine wisdom. This is a skill to discern. This is a skill to question. How many questions have you asked yesterday? Are you just accepting and just laying down to whoever speaks?
Yeah.
Are you discerning? Are you using skill set that they call mindset to understand divine knowledge and divine wisdom? Now you see it on the screen. Skill represents knowledge and divine wisdom. And as we go back on the screen, you see Allah grants us this skill called knowledge and divine wisdom. Now, what is knowledge and divine wisdom? What would it do for us? Well, especially for all people.
Yeah.
But as we are part of the all, we are also a part of the branch. Mm-hmm. So as the black branch of the black community, we have to understand we are part of life. We are part of the branch. Mm-hmm. We are part of the tree of life. And we have a duty here just like all other branches that supports the tree has a duty to life. Mm-hmm. It's not our duty to be foolish. It's our duty to be skilled in what we offer. It's our duty to be skilled in our presentation. This is our duty to raise our young and youth as viscerous leaders who will not get stuck in the viscuity of foolishness. Because all of this is what we have to understand is dealing with a skill. And as 11 tells us, these are not by accident. Yeah. Do you think your creator created you by accident?
No, he didn't.
Do you think your thought was in error when the creator made you? So this is why we have to sit, reflect, self-assess. These are not by accident. We see accidents happen to cause, but ain't no accident in the thoughts. See, thoughts is from a greater source. They come from a process that created us. Just like we read it. Allah created us from the sacred act of thinking. Mm-hmm. All that we see as being, Allah created us from the sacred act of thinking, just as you create what you create on the manifest by the sacred act of thinking. But do you give it any honor? Mm-hmm. Do you give it as your highest skill to be able to use your mind and become a mastermind? So 12 says, so to the unbelievers, to those who think, there go the word again, think. This is the word we want to highlight, think. Because as the great masters told us, if we can get the black people to thinking, mm-hmm. they will save themselves.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that once upon a time that we was not allowed to think nor write? Just think about that for a moment. What kind of people that will not want someone else to read, write, or think? But he wants to read and he wants to write and he wants to think. It's okay for him, but not for you. Is that a devil?
Raise the ethos.
Is that an evil? In our whole system, what they call the USA, is that way. And they got sanctions set up that where other countries can't do this and that without their approval. Now, somebody somewhere has it bad. And all this wrongfulness that's going on is a recipe for destruction, disaster, all that have harm. This is what this is about. So it's not going to get better, what I'm trying to say, when you live and think and behave like that.
Mm-hmm. That's not the way to behave.
That's not the way to behave and conduct yourself.
Mm-mm. That's not how the Creator would want us to be. As the Creator is watching us all to see how we perform. Mm-hmm. Can we perform in high optimum performance? not subpar performance, but a high optimal. Those who think thinking is a mistake.
Yeah.
This is where we at now, 12. Those who think logic is a mistake. Those who think thinking is a mistake. Do you claim that Allah make mistakes?
I dare you.
Does he apportion more than is needed? We talking about thinking, huh? Thinking here. Remember, the black people can save themselves if they will learn how to think.
If they had a monitor that where you can monitor the intake of oxygen or air that you bring in, that would tell you right there that it's more than needed, more than sufficient. But we just don't realize how valuable creation and how precious creation is, that we inhale each and every day oxygen to sustain us, to keep us alive. I guess we take that for granted. I wonder if it be shut off, what would happen? If you just shut it off, just turn off like you go there to the faucet and turn the water on and off. What if he just one day decided to turn it off because no one refused to respect him? No one, they're out there refusing to accept him, the source as the divine creator. What if he just shut it off?
I know I honor this gift that's been bestowed upon me of this skill of knowledge and divine wisdom.
Three times, thrice,
And
more.
if I'm making sure that we understand what's being said here, because these are the words that will save, as they say, your black. So you better know.
Fill in the blank.
Yes. Do you claim that thinking make mistakes? See, we got to really dive into this, because it ain't no form of mental illness without thinking of mental illnesses. So when we talking about sickness, ain't no sickness unless you thinking of sickness. There is no broke, there is no poor, there is no rich unless you think.
that.
Nothing exists until you think. And then all become existent. So you telling me that thinking is a mistake? Or is it we don't know how to use it?
That's the problem.
See, thinking is a craftsmanship of the mind. We have to understand the mastermind is the great craftsman product. The craftsmanship, the temple that you building, the spiritual temple or the spiritual pyramid. This is what we're talking about here. Do you think those pyramids was not built by logic?
That's right.
They wasn't randomly tossed together.
Shazam!
It was put together by masterminds.
That's right.
Who can use the skill of logic. And logic means thinking. Order, sensible, coherent thinking, not set type of thinking, or separated type of thinking, or divide and conquer type of thinking. Those are thoughts that can be thunk, but that is not how Allah granted us to think. Now, does thinking give the right answer at the right time for the right reason? This is what Allah is, giving you the right answer at the right time for the right reason. Can you hear it?
Yes, indeed.
You must hear it before you see it. Because once it's seen, it's already been heard. See, we're dealing with the mind. Remember, the workshop of the mind. And in the workshop of the mind, this is where things are made of thought. So we ain't talking about using the hands. We're talking about using the mental hands. Did you know your mental hands can create, can birth, can bring into realities, to manifestation, just like the physical set of hands? So we build up character with our skill set or how we think. We build up character by the way we think. It's not how you do anything. It's the way you think about everything. So this is why the grand Sufa is bringing us to a grand, great awareness. See, right answer at the right time for the right reason. I asked for that.
How about that?
And did we know that it was with us the whole time?
All alone.
All alone. This is why I said if I can just get black people to start thinking
For themselves.
they will save. Black people will save themselves. We must save ourselves through our own thinking. 16 tells us logic. Thinking is a gift. A skill. Two things already. They say Tahuti, two. Two things, master builder. Thinking is a gift.
Yeah.
And we know we ain't talking about Christmas Day. This is the best Christmas right here.
Right on.
To be given this gift right here.
Geared up.
So to think a thought of praiseworthy.
Yes.
Is what we talking about. The mental Christmas. Well, every day is Christmas because you got the ability to think. Now, thinking is a gift. Thinking is also a skill. Meaning, thinking is also knowledge and divine wisdom.
Man.
Thinking is the power of discernment. Let me show you my man Malcolm as the thinker. So y'all see. See, because this is important. This is why they said the most dangerous man is an educated man. An educated man is an educated mind.
Yes,
so when you see that picture right there with that great mastermind, came to the manifest by way of thought of Allah,
right on.
To empower young souls to be what we are today,
right on.
Alongside of the great honors.
Beautiful.
So many to name, we gonna say Malcolm represent all.
Right on.
So let's say that finger we see, that is a thinker. That is the sign of the knower. This is what we talking about. Remember, thinking go back to knowledge. Knowledge is the knower. Knower of what? Divine wisdom.
Yes, indeed.
Peace be upon our great brother.
Yes, indeed.
He was showing a skill to all of us that the mind is what they trying to kill. It ain't the body.
Yeah.
Because you see, many came in bodies, but it's their mind that they don't want the people to know how to unlock your mind.
Keep them asleep.
Yes, and that's how you unlock it. It's just by thinking.
Don't wake them up.
But we got to know the underwriting, the substance, the essence of why we have this ability. Because thought is the substance. As we see, man is a thought of Allah. If you flesh, that means thought is a substance.
Yes, indeed.
And we can break that down and build it up. Because if you don't destroy it, you go into heaven by way of logic. Did you think the Creator thought you in existence for you to, as it says, let me read it. Because this is the grand truth that we all been missing. We've been wanting to give it to God, give glory to God. But we haven't understood God is a trickster. This is why you don't hear what we reading, you hear the name.
Yeah.
All right, now, hear it. Hear it real good. Chapter 12. Allah never made a heaven for man.
What?
Allah never made a hell
Never.
for woman. We, not him, not Allah, we are creators.
Mm.
We are creators.
Mm-hmm.
He already did his part.
Mm-hmm.
We are the product, the offspring.
Yes.
We are the creators, and we make our own heaven or hell.
That makes so much sense.
So this is the logic.
Yeah, yeah,
Back to logic. How you thinking?
yeah, yeah. And you know, when we look at creation, look at man's creation, and take a look at Allah's creation. In man creation, he can only do, he's limited. Because see, he can't create no sun and no moon. Huh? But he's limited to certain creation. So my point is that we shall respect the divine creation that Allah has created to the fullest and not do anything to harm anything, even including ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That whatsoever he created,
Mm-hmm.
let us respect it. It says what? Honor.
Mm-hmm.
This gift he gave you, this skill he gave you,
Mm-hmm.
the teaching, all to be honored.
Mm-hmm. Yes, who brought us to Circle 7 and these hidden teachings?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Prophet Noble Drew Ali came in the time of divinity and brought us divinity.
Mm-hmm.
Told us about this thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Told us how to think. Showed us, gave us instructions, which is the way out. So as we understand, thinking is a gift, thinking is a skill, and thinking is a teaching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, so how many people was in school taught how to think?
Mm-mm.
Thinking is also a teaching. So when you go into teach means to show.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking is showing you. Uh-oh. Thinking is pointing out.
Yeah.
Thinking is declaring. Thinking is demonstrating.
Mm.
Thinking is giving instructions. Thinking is training yourself. Thinking is assigning yourself. Thinking is directing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking is warning yourself. Thinking is persuading yourself. Now this is important how this is broken down so we can build up properly.
Mm-hmm.
Now check this out. This is what Jesus said. Jesus said, power is a manifest. Power is the result of thinking. Power is but nothing. Power is illusion. Nothing more. So what you hear, money, power, sex, these are illusions.
Yeah.
This is what's real, what's been spoken on this sofa. Thinking changes not, but power changes as the thinking change. Now these are divine lessons. This is divine wisdom. This is skills right here. 16. Thinking is the will of Allah.
That's what it
Now
is.
can you think? Can self think? Then you can carry out the will of Allah. Thinking is omnipotent.
Look at that. And I would just like to say on thinking, what do you think that gets us all in trouble? Wrongfully thinking. That's what gets us all in trouble. Just the thought alone. That's why you want to make sure that your thoughts are good thoughts, not bad thoughts. Because when bad thoughts begin to sink in and they expand, then more trouble arise. And it's all got to do with just thinking alone. That's what gets you in trouble. Your evil thoughts or your good thoughts.
Man, I'm being so inspired in this moment. Man, all this knowledge and divine wisdom is rising up within.
Let it
All this is coming through.
Let the ether rise.
Yes. Thinking is a teaching to be honored. As I read about, thinking is the will of Allah, and thinking is omnipotent. Omnipotent. We're going to have to look that up. You know, black people, we got to look that up. Omnipotent, here we come. Omnipotent means thinking is almighty.
Almighty.
Thinking is possessing infinite power.
Ooh-wee.
Thinking is all powerful. Now, thinking is having absolute power. Thinking is having absolute authority. All right. They say truth is truth and truth is clear. So I hope I'm making it clear for us.
Crystal clear.
Ooh, crystal, we hope. Let it be said. 18. All who follow Sufyan are obliged to learn and master logic. This is why I gotta put Sufyan here.
Yeah.
Because I know people that say they are part of Islam, but they have not mastered logic.
Yeah.
They have not mastered the depths of thinking. They are not masterminds, our self-law adept and mastermind. So that's the wrong teachings. They took them down the wrong thinking. And now they down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Because this is divine, what we're talking about. And when it says obliged, that is a duty. So if they are taking more times to pray than to think, more time to understand than to do, then we're not using the greater pause that's going to be rebirth.
Yeah.
If y'all want to rebirth from the earth, then you got to take this into consideration. It has to be a spiritual birth.
That's correct.
From the mind into the spirit. The mind, we'll get into that to as we stay into the thinking. Because this is the primordial mind. This is what brings about the mind. Is where one thinks. As we see, everything was created in the mind of Allah. We talking about in the mind of thinking.
Yeah.
We talking about the picture of Malcolm, the thinker,
Yeah.
the knower.
Yeah.
These are you. We have to keep iterating to black people because we have been told a lot of things. And so we're going to have to keep saying the right thing over and over. Heaven is a state of mind. Heaven is a concept in your mind. It belongs to the way you think. Man is a thought of Allah. Allah had to think of you for you to exist as a thought. And it says that we are to learn how to think and master thinking. We are to learn how to think as black folks, and we are to master thinking. That's what you see, a master thinker. Thinking on the soul plane, y'all. Look at that. That's the soul plane right there.
Soul
He ain't thinking on the physical plane. The same thoughts that we're thinking now, he's still thinking now, and even better. Because you don't exist as a bodily entity. You are souls, as we have covered in the Sufas. Allah are souls, and all souls are Allah. I hope you're doing your study, because this is going to correct your thinking. Because this is where the way has been misstarted. We now think wrong, so everything else going to be wrong.
Yeah.
But if you think right, everything going to be right in the sight.
Yeah. I just want to say something on the thinking. When we, as a people, and they always addressing this issue, we the people. But it's not we the thinkers, because sometimes when they sit as a group and meet behind closed doors, they are the ones who thinking for you. And if you're not there or present at the meeting or whatever the rendezvous may be, and if your thought is not in on it, then you should reconsider going along with anybody or anyone's thought other than yourself when you wasn't present at the meeting to decide what the community can be. And this what's been going on with us as a people. We ain't been at the meeting. Someone else at the meeting, and when the meeting is over, they come and tell you what you're gonna do. How could you live like this each and every day without your own thoughts? That's ignorant.
This is what they've been doing. That's why it's here now. Oh yeah, I wasn't done on how power think. I know this got to inspire someone, as it's inspired me.
Yeah, because somebody ain't thinking for themselves.
Power is that thinking and manifest, directed by thinking. There's power in the winds, a power in the waves, a power in the lightning stroke, a power in the human arm, a power in the eye. The ethers cause these powers to be. And thought of Elohim, thought of angel, walk with, thought of man, and other thinking things. directs the force. The thinker directs the ether. Okay? Play with it if you want. All right. When thinking has done its work, think about it, y'all. When y'all thinking is done. The power is no more.
That's right.
The thought of it is no more. Oh, full belly. The thought of it of food is no more. Now, this is why it's important to understand why we need to understand how to think. Because thinking gives us the ability to understand. Thinking is the rock on which man builds himself. Thinking is the gnosis. Thinking is the gnosis of the alt and the naught, of falsehood and of truth. Thinking is the knowledge of the lower self. The sensing of the powers of man himself. You can think up your senses. This is how powerful thinking is.
Oh, it's powerful.
It's more powerful than the ink in the pen.
It's powerful.
More powerful than the ink
witness.
in the pen. They say they changed the world through a pen. Well, we're going to change it back through the way we think.
Think. Beautiful.
What is wisdom? Wisdom is the thinking that man is alt, that Allah and man are one. See, when the mind can be able to conceive such high, elevated, lofty thoughts,
as connected.
For me, it'd be irresistible. These ways of thoughts are just irresistible. You don't want to come down from these lofty thoughts. Why come to the basement when you at the loft? You on the loft, looking at the view of the world from an overstanding. Because we was inside, that was our understanding. And we have been outside, and that was our understanding. And now we understand all forms of standing. So now we stand all. Now we at these very, very critical points in the teaching where it says that now we must master logic, which is master thinking. Nothing is more disgraceful than an ignorant man mimicking prayers. Nothing is more ignorant than an ignorant man, talking about a non-thinking man, mimicking prayers. Meaning parroting, just repeating. You don't have to repeat where you can think. Praise Allah, Alhamdulillah. Now, what we saying, verily 20, he does not comprehend.
Does not.
To comprehend means to know.
To know.
To know means to be the thinker. You the coach of your own life. You call the plays. Your limbs is your players, that you have and play sports with. Not causing harm. What we say, the lower self, the unconscious mind, is everything that brings harm. See, this is where it all come into community. The lower self, which is the unconscious mind, the unconscious thinker, breeds hatred, slander, lewdness, murders, theft, and everything that harms. The higher self is a little sweet, gentle peach as a kiss on the cheek. Now, so this is why I said study 3 times. Because this is what we must think on 3 levels before making a decision. That's going to determine the rest of your life. So now, number 21 says, nothing is more wicked than the promotion of ignorance and fear in the name of Allah. unconsciousness and then pushing a thought of unconsciousness called fear. Logic is the enemy of the unbelievers. Thinking is the enemy of the unbelievers. Logic is the test of the lie. Thinking is the test of the lie. Of the defrauders which they cannot escape.
Yeah.
See, the people who've been lying all this time, they in high waters.
Yeah.
They head finna go below.
That's right.
Below waters. Because you can't outwit a great thinker.
That's right. And I like to say that when you are a promoter of ignorance, and this what this country been doing, as long as I can remember from day one, they were a promoter of ignorance, evil, and the list goes on. Don't you see why we have so much trouble? That it's a sea of trouble in this society, on this land where we stand. A sea of trouble, and this is why, because the promotion of lies.
Facts. This is what's happening. The unconscious virus is spreading far and wide. So if you don't want to catch the virus, become a thinker. A liar and fraud would tell you, do not think. Do not use logic. They would say logic is a mistake. Thinking is a mistake. Oh, it just be tickling me. All the falsehoods that is remembered. That teachers have said when you was young. The folly you heard from coaches. I mean, just the list go on from peers to peers in pressure. I mean, to everything. To being when we joning and skilling on one another. All this come into play right here. They would tell you that it's a mistake. Boy, woo. 26, only a true disciple of the Sufyan and a true Muslim will embrace a question with respect. With respect. Not half, as they say, half, but with full respect. See, I know you won't get all of it by doing half of it. Logic don't work that way, boo-boo. And this is what we have to understand. Logic don't work that way. You use your left hand a lot, you become left-handed. That's just how logic works. You use your mind a lot, you become a thinker. That's how logic works. You forget about thinking, you become a slave. You are the slave and the master of yourself. So you can enslave yourself and you can unslave yourself. You can be the master of yourself, or you can forget that you're the master. This is the game that the false self plays. Woo.
And we as a people, they have got us so obligated to what they call working jobs. That's all we do and all we know. You can tell you how long you've been working and everything and when you got started. But you ask the question, how long you been working for your divine creator who created you? You have zero. You have zero on the book.
Zero on the book alive.
The company got to just about find a way to flam you to get you off the job and take all your benefits. You won't even leave. You work there till you drop dead. I seen it. They down on the job.
They flim flam.
Yeah, oh yeah. They're flim flam.
I love the word.
That 401k plan that they set up for you. And then your retirement benefit, they'll flim flam you out of all that.
Hey, that's what the trickster is, a flim flammer. He loved to
Flam flam.
Yeah.
Flam flam.
He loved to make the joke on you. Oh man. Oh, finish this on. Oh, 27 says Allah, all law, have not created anything better than thinking.
Reason.
Yes.
Look at him. Reason for the season.
Our people need to know what this stuff means. Hey, because many words describe one word.
Mm-hmm.
And all these words in the Sufa is describing self on every part of what you was called every part of God.
Mm-hmm.
And this is nothing that Allah has created more perfect than reason,
Mm-hmm.
which is thinking. And thinking, this is what we need to know.
Yeah.
Or anything more perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Or more beautiful. All this is what Allah thinks about what he gave us called the gift of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
That is nothing more perfect and is nothing more beautiful. The benefits which Allah gives are on its account, and understanding is by logic.
Mm.
Understanding is by thinking. We can't, to put on a shoe, you gotta think.
Yeah.
To go outside, you gotta think.
Mm-hmm.
To lift a finger, all forms of doing contains thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Even animals think. That's why they doing.
Mm. That's right.
As we read,
Mm-hmm.
2031, deliberation in undertakings is pleasing to Allah. A good disposition, a good thought, good disposition, a good thought, and deliberation in affairs, and a medium, talking about thinking. Thinking is a medium in all things. Ooh, don't get no sweeter than that.
Mm-hmm.
These are the qualities of what you would call a true Muslim.
A true Muslim. Let's put true in front of it.
We got to
because
put true in these days.
We got false as well.
We got false as well. We got false everywhere.
We got false everywhere. We have truth everywhere. Whether you deny it or accept it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are you a true Christian out there?
That's what
Are
it
you
is.
a true Jew?
Mm-hmm. True.
Are you a true Muslim?
These the
Are
three.
you a true whatever you proclaim to be?
Yeah.
Are you true at that or are you new at that?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
Mm-hmm. Well, that finished my super
Well,
27.
That logic is beautiful.
Man, that's beautiful. That's the man.
Mm-hmm.
Allah and man is one. You see the word man there.
Mm-hmm.
Man tiak.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.